Now, I want to jump this off by talking about controversy, right? So we got two players. They play the same position, quarterback.
Yes.
In the biggest media market on the planet Earth, New York, right?
So nice they named it twice.
Right. So when the draft happened and the Giants selected Daniel Jones, the whole world stopped breathing. Like, oh, my God, what's going on?
Yes.
Guy played at Duke. Nobody's ever seen him play, right? Duke didn't have a lot of national games. And so
and of course
we were wondering.
To the Manning football quarterback.
Of course. It's
all that. Very fishy.
Very, very fishy. But the notion was the Giants were reaching. You take the 6th pick in the draft. You pick a guy. The majority of none of your fans knew who he was or what he was about. Fast forward to preseason last week. Daniel Jones comes out. He's 5 for 5, leads the team down, scores a touchdown. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, he's the guy. He's the next guy. But pump your brakes because the owner had something to say about this quarterback controversy.
If Daniel, I hope Eli has a great year and Daniel never sees the field. I mean, that would be in an ideal world that you'd like to see that. So, but again, it's at the end of the day, it's going to be a decision by the head coach as to when, or if Daniel ends up playing this year.
If Daniel doesn't play one snap as a rookie, you'd be okay with that?
I'd be very happy about that because it means that we're having a great year and Eli's having a great year.
Now, controversy averted. I'll tell you that. Until Eli Manning goes out, and he's been the Eli Manning we've seen for the last couple years.
Right.
Then controversy begins again.
Which is bad.
It is bad. Many of us, if not all of us, think that Eli Manning is past his prime and past his swan song is evident. Right, they don't have a lot of weapons outside of Saquon Barkley on the outside,
and then all the injuries and right that happened.
What are we doing? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just think Eli should have been put to pasture years ago. I get it, and here's part of it. And we remember when they wanted to stop that streak, and he threw a fit because they said you could start the game, but we want to start getting some other young quarterbacks some reps. Season was lost. He's getting pounded. They would look into the future. They ran Jerry Reese and those guys out of there after that, and what Ben McAdoo.
Yeah, they did.
Right? They did.
They did.
Because they were trying to say that, dude, this is not working. We need to do something else. And the people of New York went crazy, and I get it. I really do, because I always say anybody can win one Super Bowl. Stars align, everything works out, right? You have a greatest defense of all time. You have a hokey quarterback, and somehow you win.
It just worked.
Right. But in Eli's case, not only did he win one, he won two. And he beat the Patriots twice. He also was the MVP twice. He also had signature throws in each game, right? In the game twice. And he also beat the 18-0 Patriots and wrecked their season. He'll never be forgotten. He'll be a New York icon forever. You hear me? And I get it. But he's no good here. And they are trying to hang on to Eli and do him right so that people don't push back. When a lot of great quarterbacks, and when I say great, I'm talking about the winning of the Super Bowls and everything, have finished their careers elsewhere. Ephraim, am I not right? And I'm talking about.
You're right. Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, Joe Montana, some of the all-time greats.
What was 4-0? Peyton Manning, right? And if you want to go back to Bart Starr, Joe Namath, and in Baltimore, am I thinking of? Not Bart Starr, because he was with Green Bay, but the quarterback in Baltimore, Johnny Unitas. All those guys finished elsewhere.
Yeah.
They just did. Tom Brady's the exception. He's still there.
Well, we don't know.
But I'm saying
right.
to this point.
Right.
And he's 42 years old. But my point is the Giants are living in the past. Once you start living in the past, that's when you miss your golden opportunity. And I don't know. Pete Carroll had a veteran quarterback. He was all set, and you know what he decided? I'm going to take a chance on this Russell Wilson. Nobody knew. Am I right?
They're right.
It sent shockwaves when they said Russell Wilson's going to be the quarterback.
Well, yeah, because they paid Matt Flynn all that money.
After he did a number on the Lions. The Lions helped him with that contract. Remember he set all those records in Green Bay?
Yeah, he was 7 touchdowns in one game.
Against the Lions.
One game.
And he couldn't even make it out of training camp.
He could not.
Unbelievable.
He could not. When it comes to Eli Manning and his legacy, some argue he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Some argue, he's not. What side of the fence are you on? As of what you just said, I'm kind of leaning towards you think he's in Hall of Fame quarterback.
I think he's going to make it in the Hall of Fame because, first of all,
First ballot.
Oof. Marv Levy's in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not picking on him.
Okay.
He lost 4 straight Super Bowls. Is that great or is that dubious to you? I'm asking you.
That's great.
That's dubious.
That's great. To
lose,
get to 4 Super Bowls?
No, to lose. Are you trying to
You get to the Super Bowl, man, 4 times.
You trying to be at the Playboy Mansion door or are you going to be in? Which one? Which one is good? Just get into the front door?
Sometimes you can get a look inside from the front door, man. All you want is a look.
I want to be in the door, and I want to be in. And my cheese was hot. It was. I don't know. When you talk about a guy who did what he did, when you talk about the history of the NFL and how he slayed the 18-0 Patriots, remember that. He is going to get in the Hall of Fame. You guys could kid yourself all you want, and I get it. His regular seasons are bad. There are plenty of years they didn't make the playoffs. His numbers aren't great. But he won 2 of the biggest games and had 2 of the biggest throws that we've seen. That throw to Manningham might be one of the greatest throws and catches I've ever seen.
Well, the throw is the throw. The catch is what? I mean,
that's a great throw.
He threw it down the middle.
No, that was on the side. You mean the sideline catch?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the bubble gum.
No.
Okay.
The Manningham catch.
Okay, yeah,
you're right.
You're right. That was a beautiful throw.
That's a beautiful throw. That ball's there. Manningham makes a great catch.
The problem with that is it's too few and far between those great throws, right? And as of now, can Eli's wretched play hurt his legacy? Right? All of those wonderful things that you've said, if Eli continues to go at this clip, does it hurt his legacy moving forward?
I don't think he can be damaged because of the Tom Brady. People want to call Tom Brady the GOAT, right? If Tom Brady's the GOAT and Eli's 2-0 against him in Super Bowls and beat him twice and was the MVP, what does that make Eli? I'm serious.
Pretty lucky guy?
No, Tom Brady's the low. Tom Brady's the luckiest of all time.
Oh, well. Given the roster and the stable of talent that Tom Brady had to consistently overcome.
But you got to admit,
is Eli an elite quarterback?
No, he's not.
He's never been deemed an elite quarterback. Right, that's the problem I have.
Eli wasn't on the team.
They were 9-7 when they squeaked into the Super Bowl, into the playoffs, made a run to the Super Bowl. They had a dynamic defense. Defense was all world.
But it wasn't like Eli. It would be like if Eli had a Tom Brady Super Bowl like Tom just had, I'd be totally different. Tom Brady threw no touchdowns, had a pick, interception, 260 yards. Really, I say an awful Tom Brady game and a big game. And if Eli won like that and it was 13-3, I would side with you. But he was the MVP. He was the one who had to come back. You remember?
I remember.
Patriots were winning that game. I'm talking about the 18-0 year.
I remember.
And he had to make a throw to Plaxico and win that game. And I'm telling you, Eli Manning has done enough to be in the Hall of Fame despite the other years.
Okay.
Do you not put any credence into those?
I understand those big moments. Those are 2 big moments in his career.
It wasn't one lucky moment.
It was
he did
2
it twice.
Big moments. Are those 2 big moments enough to propel him into the Hall of Fame? I'm all about consistency. I'm all about.
So you would say Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer to you because he played a long time, put up a lot of numbers, but didn't win jack. You think he's a Hall of Fame over Eli?
I think those 2 are in the discussion together because they're tied to each other.
They're not even close to each other.
You don't think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Not at all.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Not at all.
Let me ask you just one question. You take those 2 Super Bowls away. right?
Totally different, though.
Is Eli Manning a Hall of Fame quarterback?
No, neither one is.
So if you take those two Super Bowl wins,
I can't take him
propel him to Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Wow, that's all you need? Damn, I wish I would have won that Super Bowl I was in.
Two Super Bowls, and that's and again, he wasn't along for the ride. Do you remember in Tampa and Baltimore where they had Brad Johnson and those guys? You remember those guys aren't going to get in the Hall of Fame because they won a Super Bowl. Because it was all about the defense. We agree on that?
You're right. Yes. But I get that. Right?
Those
Trent
guys.
Dilfer, Brad Johnson.
They don't get in.
They were just, no, of course not. But if your caveat is that you win Super Bowls.
Bowls, plural.
Okay, so if Brad Johnson would have won 2 Super Bowls,
you'd have to
put him in?
You'd have to consider him.
No shot.
Yes, you'd have to consider him.
If Trent Dilfer wins 2 Super Bowls.
I'm saying that now did he win the second one and he's the MVP? This is what I'm trying to tell you is Eli didn't just win 2, he was the MVP in both. That put your stock up. You weren't a part of it. You were the reason that they won.
Okay, well Eli's a good quarterback. I'm not taking away his abilities, right? But when you think of elite, no one has ever put Eli Manning in his years in the elite category.
But what is the goal? I always say sports has a short menu. It's wins and losses.
Wins and losses.
Okay? And especially when you talk about the bigger games. And that's why when I look at to me, Joe Montana's the GOAT. And when you look at his resume, you could talk about Tom Brady's been to 9 and the whole 9 yards. Joe Montana, 4
and 4.
Right?
Yep.
4 wins, no losses, 11 touchdowns, no picks, 3 MVPs, and 2 of his Super Bowls. He had to throw a game-winning touchdown to win the game.
Right.
Not a 49-yard field goal from the greatest Adam Vinatieri, the greatest kicker in the history of the NFL.
Well, Morton Anderson is the greatest kicker in the NFL.
All right, but I'm talking about big time.
Yeah, I got you.
Games.
And I understand that fact. My whole thing is, look, Dan Marino didn't win any Super Bowls. For a long time, Dan Marino was the gold standard in quarterback.
No doubt about it.
Right? So
you don't think
how does it go both ways?
But that's why he's never mentioned as the GOAT, because he didn't win. He
was for a long time.
But when you look at, am I right though? When you
you're right.
Despite all his numbers, he had an unbelievable arm. What Dan Marino, they'll never give him that because winning does matter. The same reason that it's hard to pick people who've never won and say they're the greatest of all time. It really is hard.
It is hard, and I just think on this current team for Eli Manning and his predecessor Daniel Jones, I think New York is leaning more towards wanting Daniel Jones to play and not Eli because, and I know that the Giants have an affinity for him. He's their guy, but that whole situation that happened, and they cleaned house for the people who were involved when Eli Manning didn't start.
Right, McAdoo and
they cleaned
Jerry
house,
Reese,
but that was the writing on the wall. They put E.J. Emanuel. They didn't even have a guy that they needed to look at. They put him in the game. Now you got this kid who came out, had a phenomenal first drive. If Eli plays in this preseason and struggles and Daniel Jones continues to play well, then now we're talking some serious issues.
All right, we want to hear from you, and let's talk about the Eli Hall of Fame thing.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that, like both. So you let's just talk about that. If you want to chime in, 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Should Eli be in the Hall of Fame, and do you view him as that a Hall of Fame quarterback, or do the bad seasons and not making the playoffs outweigh the 2 great Super Bowls and MVPs?
And you've even admitted that he's never been considered or is an elite quarterback. And isn't that what the Hall of Fame for? Elite players?
Mostly it is. Mostly.
Okay.
But it also documents some of the greatest players who ever played, and there are circumstances and moments. And I don't think you could tell the story of the NFL, which is a way that a lot of people like to break it down, without talking about how Eli Manning beat the 18-0 Patriots. which was the Tom Brady team and the 50 touchdowns and the Randy Moss. And remember when Plaxico Burress said that he gave the score. He said 16-13. And Tom Brady goes, "Oh, we're only scoring 13." But you know what? Do you remember that? Only?
Yeah, I remember that.
It was very classic.
I remember that.
He laughed. He chuckled. That team was scoring 35 points a game. You remember?
Yeah.
And they got beat.
They got beat.
They got
did.
beat. So 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369.
All right, so we want to open it up to you guys. What do you guys think? We're going to go to Andy in Tennessee.
What's up, fellas?
What's
up?
happening?
What's up? Hey, I want to start this off by saying, Rob, I like you because you're one of the only ones in the media that it's like if you say something bad about LeBron in the media, you might get in trouble or you might get suspended. So I applaud you.
That's true. You know everybody.
Hey.
You know all the other sheep that are walking around in the media. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey, Rob, but if I was your boss, dog, I would have to fire you off this take alone on Eli
What?
Manning. Never once. How many Hall of Famers are in the Hall of Fame that was never once an All-Pro? He's not better. He's not a better quarterback than Tony Romo.
Yeah, but he's also. But wait a minute. You're going to discount 2 Super Bowl MVPs and go back and look.
Achievement.
Go back.
That's a team achievement.
No,
That's
it's
a team
not.
achievement.
Go
Yes,
look at it. Go look at his numbers. No, it's not.
I don't
You know
care.
why? You know why it's not? Because everybody says Tom Brady's had won 6 championships. That's what they say. Tom Brady has 6 rings.
Tom Brady's the GOAT.
That's what they. Well,
Tom
you're the
Brady's
only
GOAT.
one because everybody else uses rings. So I'm not going to buy that. Thanks for the call, Andy.
Thanks, Andy. I love that accent, boy.
I
That
know.
Tennessee, boy.
That's so thick.
Leroy in Indiana, what do you think, brother?
Good evening, gents. Love the show. I'm going to have
you.
to shut the door on this Phillip Rivers argument right now. I got 2 quick reasons why. One, Eli Manning, just if you're comparing the two, Eli Manning has done far more with far less around him over his entire career. You could argue that if you look at, the Chargers or the Giants on any given year between the two, with the exception of tight end, because that's debatable, Phillip Rivers always had a better team around him on the offensive side of the football. And then the other side of it is in the biggest games and the biggest moments when it matters, only one of these 2 quarterbacks has either given their team a chance to or did win those big games. And that's Eli Manning.
Leroy, I'm right with you. Lockstep, my man from Indiana. We appreciate the call.
Wow, you just leeching on to these callers, huh?
Hey, I'm just telling you.
All right, fine. Let's keep it moving. Matt in Memphis, what you got, brother?
Hey, guys. So I would just say, for me, if it's a Hall of Fame issue, how many other quarterbacks are even out there with 2 Super Bowl rings and not in the Hall of Fame? It's a precedence thing. I mean, that is a big deal, and that alone.
I think Jim Plunkett is the only right.
Jim Plunkett. You know what? Lee Robert Lapp IV. Find out how many
Jim Plunkett has 2, and he's
quarterbacks with 2 Super Bowl victories are not in the Hall of Fame.
I think it's Jim Plunkett. But Matt, you still there? All right, we lost Matt.
He made a good point, though. I mean, that is a good caveat. But like I said, the fact if you're going to use that.
But Jim Plunkett, I don't think won an MVP of either one.
But listen, if you use that, then let's just say, for the sake of argument, Trent Dilford won another Super Bowl.
Stop. He wasn't the MVP. Stop.
But that's what he. I'm just going off.
It ain't just
I'm just
winning.
going off what Matt just said.
If you win the Super Bowl by being on the bus, that ain't the same as being MVP, and you know it.
That's not, I'm just addressing.
Tom Brady won 2 Super Bowls with a total of 1 touchdown. Did you know that? The first one, he threw 1 touchdown the entire postseason.
All right.
And last year he won a Super Bowl without a touchdown.
I get it. Look, I'm not. You don't have to anti-Tom Brady me.
No, I'm just saying.
I get it. I understand. You know what I mean? All right, Ron in Texas.
What's up, fellas?
What's happening?
What's happening, brother?
Hey, Rob, you know who this is. Ron in Texas, bro, from New York.
That's right. What's up? Call me. We'll talk.
You already know. Hey, I got a couple of points about Eli.
All right.
Not only did he beat who
some people consider the GOAT, but you're right. Joe Montana's the GOAT.
Yep.
He beat him twice, but look at the numbers. He's the most consistent playoff quarterback once he gets there. Look at the numbers.
No, the numbers are really good, and you're right about that. It's pretty unusual because he's bad during the regular season.
He's terrible during the regular season.
Yeah, that's true, but he's been in the league for this many years with the same team, 2 Super Bowls, and he's consistent. His numbers, it's not even really an argument about the Hall. He's going to get there because of his numbers. He got 2 Super Bowls, and his numbers are going to get him there. Look at I'm in my car driving, so I can't look up the numbers.
Don't look them up.
Just look at the numbers.
Don't look them up.
Don't look them up, man.
I'm talking about a touchdown to interceptions.
No, he's been tremendous.
The overall yards, he's going to be there.
So, Ron, in your opinion, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer?
Absolutely.
Oof. That's going to be tough.
Absolutely.
We'll see what that class looks like.
He's consistent, man. He's consistent.
I'll tell you, the one that I always stick out is the 18-0 Patriots. That's a big feather in your cap. Nobody could beat them that year, and Eli beat Tom Brady and them. Thanks for the call, Ron.
Appreciate that, Ron. Marco in North Carolina.
Comparison with.
Go ahead, Marco.
Hey, fellas, how y'all doing?
Good,
Love
brother.
the show.
Thank you, bud.
Rob, I have to agree with you once again.
Yes.
I'm a big Eagles fan, so this is kind of crazy me saying this, but 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. The year that they went 9-7, they had to beat everybody on the road.
Yep.
So, yes, first ballot Hall of Famer, yes. As far as the Trent Dilfer, heck no. That was all Ravens defense.
Yes.
But what if he would have won twice?
But he didn't win twice, so we ain't going there.
What about Brad Johnson?
Stop it. He didn't win twice.
I'm throwing names out there.
And Marco, Eli had 2 signature throws in both of those Super Bowl wins.
In both those Super Bowls, plus that was Tony Dungy's Tampa Bay team, and Brad Johnson, nah. And Phillip Rivers, stop playing.
No doubt. Hey, Marco, thanks for the call.
Appreciate that.
If you're hanging on, we're going to get to you.
We'll get to you.
We're going to get to you. So
we got a little housekeeping to do.
Right.
We'll get to you. Yep.
So hang in.
Coming in now is Sean Salisbury. He's host of the Sean Salisbury Show. You can reach him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Sean, hey, how you doing, brother?
Sean, what's up?
Great to be on with you guys, man. What a pleasure it is. Always good here. A little humid here in Houston, but life's good. Appreciate you guys having me.
Thank you, man. I know what that Houston weather's like,
yeah.
man. Oh, my goodness gracious.
You walk outside and you say, man, I'm really going to get a good one in today. And then you turn back and say, no, I think I'm going to get my ass right back in the sheet.
Yes.
So, I get it, man. I get it.
So, Sean, we just, to kick it off real quick, we're having a debate about, the story about Eli and Daniel Jones this week, and Daniel playing well, and whether or not there's a New York quarterback controversy. But then it morphed into, is Eli a Hall of Famer? Ephraim is saying no, not right. At least not a first ballot. And I'm saying yes because he won 2 Super Bowls, not one, and he was MVP twice. He beat the 18-0 Patriots and Tom Brady twice. I think he is, despite the bad seasons he's had as well. What about you?
Right. And on the first part of that, as much as I think Daniel Jones, unfortunately for him, got such a raw deal with the way people treated him. It's not his fault the Giants drafted him. It's the Gettleman situation we look at. But I think he's going to be a good player. I did beforehand and watching probably 80% of his college throws. I do think, but there's no competition. Unless they go 1-7 and Eli's laying an egg, then you go to him. But starting off, Eli's going to play. As far as the Hall of Fame, guys, I agree with both of you. To me, he is going to the Hall of Fame, and I'm not sitting on a fence here. I think he's a Hall of Fame. When you're the MVP in 2 Super Bowls, and Brady was part of one that you won, and it was in such dramatic fashion, he played big in big games. And while he's throwing a lot of interceptions, we got guys in the Hall of Fame that have thrown picks, and he's got the other numbers that allow him to numbers-wise get in. But the 2 Super Bowls is going to get him in. But I agree with Ephraim too. I think that. I don't believe, in my mind, I wouldn't put him in the first ballot. But, guys, let's not forget this now. The Manning name pulls a lot of weight. We know that. And emotions come in when these guys are sitting and selling their guys saying they're pounding the desk for should he be in or shouldn't he. When all is said and done, you may pass the first one first ballot-wise, but I do believe Eli Manning will get into the Hall of Fame, and there'll be controversy around it. There's going to be controversy around it with Phillip Rivers. If Rivers doesn't get a Super Bowl, is he a Hall of Famer? And the numbers and competitive, I think he'll get in as well, but I don't think he's a first-ballot guy unless he's able to validate it with a Super Bowl. But 2 Super Bowls usually means, especially when you started in that durability, the length that Eli Manning has, yeah, guys, if it was me, eventually he's a Hall of Famer. I just don't know how many times it'll pass him before he gets in.
He is Sean Salisbury. You can reach him at Sean Unfiltered. Thank you for answering that burning question for us. Let's move on to another quarterback. And, not so favorable news about Andrew Luck and his bone bruise now, I guess. To me, Andrew Luck has the ability to be that type of elite quarterback. When he's healthy, he's on. But is he injury prone?
Guys, he's taken a lot of hits early in his career. Now there's finally, and Ballard's done such a great job of building what now is starting to look like a team that you say, oh, that's a January push into February team. And now the guy that has to be in the lineup for them to get there is banged up. And remember, guys, when Mr. Irsay when Eli's shoulder was banged up, well, it's not that big a deal. Well, a year later, it was a big deal. So, the rehab and not throwing. So, obviously, this isn't as serious as least it appears. But we went from calf muscle strain to now it's on the bone, and to now he still hasn't practiced. And I'm not worried about his reps in games. He's a grinder, and mentally he's staying on top of it. But you do get concerned about the football conditioning that goes with guys. You can't simulate it. Big fella, you know that.
Yeah.
You can't simulate it on the sidelines or in practice like you do in the games and just getting into it. But this is a team that's got Super Bowl aspirations. I think it's the best team in the division. And you're right. This is an elite quarterback that is a special. And you watched him, guys, when he came to Houston last year in the playoffs. We've seen him. When he's in that rhythm and protected and not getting hit, he'll carve you up. But I don't know if he's injury-prone, Rob, but I do know that the hits start to add up. It's like so many throws in the arm. You only got so many. You only got so many hits. But I think this is more concerning than Irsay and the Colts want to lead on. While Jacoby Brissett is an excellent backup, this team's not going to the playoffs, in my mind, unless Andrew Luck's under center for most of the season. They need him from the get-go.
Sean, of course, the Cowboys have a couple of guys that one running back and Ezekiel Elliott who's holding out. The Dak saga continues. They supposedly offered him $30 million to make him the sixth highest paid quarterback, and then there was a report that he asked for $40 and all that. But out of those two guys, who would you sign first? Who's the most important player on that Cowboys team? That's the question.
I think we know that it's Ezekiel. Zeke's the best football player they have.
No doubt.
Especially skilled. He's their best football player. And here's the thing. Now, I think Dak Prescott's going to get paid no matter how much we think it is, 32, 33. He's not getting 40. We know he's not worth 40. I think he's one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the league. But on the next step, guys, I don't think if you go without great players for 6 or 7 games for him, that he's going to load you on his back and carry you like Rodgers would or like an Andrew Luck can or Russ Wilson can. But I do think he's better than people, and he's going to get paid like a frontline quarterback because that's just the pecking order year to year how it goes. But for me, Elliott, obviously, now whether we devalue running backs or not, and some people do, I can tell you as a quarterback, we ain't devaluing crap because when it's 3rd and 1 or it's December and you need hard yards, big fella, you know this too, is those guys you lean on. Plus, it helps the threat of play action. It just makes Dak better. It just does. But the reason why you have to pay Dak first is because the pecking order, man. I mean, one's up sooner. But the truth of the matter is I honestly believe by the time camp starts, Cooper will get his done next year, that both Elliott and Prescott will be paid and in uniform by the time we start this thing in September.
All right. He is Sean Salisbury. He's the host of the Sean Salisbury Show on Sports Talk 790 in Houston from 6 to 10 a.m. Check him out. You can find him at Twitter, at Sean Unfiltered. Sean, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it, brother.
Sean, we appreciate it.
Anytime, and I look forward to having you guys on my show. What an honor to be on with you. I appreciate you having me, fellas. Have a good night.
You
Absolutely.
too.
It's been a great second hour, not just because I'm hosting it, but
very nice. Good job.
I just like the content, right? When we started this thing off talking about the quarterback or possible quarterback controversy in New York with how well Daniel Jones looking. Of course, it's preseason, and it was really one drive, very small sample size, but given when he was drafted, people's reaction, I think seeing him come out, the best thing he could have done for himself, seeing him come out and play extremely well in his first game action, although it be preseason, people have something to look forward to. So that beckoned the question, okay, is it Daniel Jones time or is it still Eli time? That morphed into, we know this is the end for Eli. Right. Whether it be this year or whatever that may be.
Right. It's there.
It's there, right? So we start talking about the future for Eli and maybe being worthy of that gold jacket. And you're very adamant because of his two, not one, but two Super Bowl wins, two Super Bowl MVPs.
And 2 wins over Tom Brady.
2 wins over Tom Brady.
Including the 18-0 Patriots. You know how many people over in Haiti or whatever have those 19-0 T-shirts, Patriot T-shirts? So Eli's a humanitarian as well. You know they never sell those shirts.
No, they can't sell
and
those
they got to be printed but way before.
Way before.
You can't wait till after the fact.
Way before.
So those shirts are printed.
Haiti.
I just picked a country.
Haiti.
All right, 877-9905.
All right, let's go to Caleb in Seattle.
Caleb, what you got?
Hey, man. So, happy to talk to you guys, but one of the things that you have to think about when you're talking about the Hall of Fame is their past and what they've done, right? And the way and the drama with which Eli Manning came into the league, I do not think will do him any favors when it comes down to that voting. I think he'll get in, but just the drama between him.
No, I got it. That he didn't want to go to San Diego,
right.
And him and his dad, and they forced their way to New York. There's no doubt about it.
Strong-armed their way.
They did.
Absolutely.
That was mob style.
Thank you for that call. And he's right. And, I don't think that's going to endear people to him. But I will tell you this, and you said it earlier in this hour, that they are the first family of football. They are the Mannings.
Come on, the dad and 2 boys? Are you kidding?
All starting quarterbacks, all pro. Well, not all pro for Eli,
but both won 2 both won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying, and we'll see how that plays out. Let's go to Mike in the Bay, in the Yay area.
Hey guys.
What's up, Mike?
Rob, this one's for you.
All right.
No way, no how.
Wow.
Is Eli Manning getting in on a first ballot Hall of Famer? All right. He lucky throw, gets it. Can you spell hypocrite for me, Rob?
Wait a minute.
R-O-B Parker.
Wait a minute. When you say lucky throw, he had 2 lucky throws. Is that what you're saying?
I'll say that was a great catch because that ball was going out of bounds and Manningham grabbed it.
That was a great throw. So, come on, man. Go rewatch that. That's a great throw and a great catch.
Mike, we appreciate it.
I'm a hypocrite, I guess.
They're going at your head, man.
Maybe Rob Parker. I guess he talked to my ex-wife. Huh?
Come on, Chris. I can't believe he trashed me like that.
All right, let's go to Demetrius in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing? I
Good,
love the
brother.
show.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Rob, I'm going to give you 2 quotes from one of my favorite movies, Coming to America.
Okay.
1, you must be out of your damn mind. And 2, Eli is good and terrible. He had a 5-game and a 6-game win streak. And that's why he's in there. And also, if his last name wasn't Manning, he would be a backup or out of the league for the last 3 or 4 years.
Demetrius, wait a minute.
Listen, man, you take it. He would be Tony Romo or Bernie Kosar.
You can't even say that. Come on, man. He won 2 Super Bowl and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. That's not fair.
Bernie Kosar, sidearm bandit.
Unbelievable.
All right, I love the movie quotes. I appreciate that. Adam in Salt Lake City.
Thank you for taking my call, guys.
Of course.
Eli Manning absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because the NFL put one guy in the Hall of Fame that never accomplished anything, Dan Fouts.
Oh, wow.
Dan Fouts? I mean, has he ever appeared in 1 Super Bowl? No.
I don't think they even made the Super Bowl, but Dan Fouts was an awesome passer. I mean, I get it. I hear what you're saying, and here that's a good point.
That is
now,
a good
Dan
point.
Fouts is in there. Don Air Coryell, they revolutionized the game. Would you agree with that?
They did change the game.
So when you talk about the NFL and throwing the football, they were way ahead of the rest of the league.
Right. Drew in Oregon, you got 10 seconds.
What's up, boys?
What's happening?
First of all, Eli, of course he's going to Super Bowl. It's dumb to think he's not because he has one of the best defenses also with that line with Tuck and Osi Umenyiora and Michael Strahan. But Phillip Rivers is guaranteed to go to the Hall of Fame He owns every one of Dan Fouts' records, every one of them. He's the best Chargers quarterback in history of the Chargers.
Drew, we appreciate that. And, that's great points there. Right, great points. My favorite caller was, of course, the quote of Coming to America, one of the greatest comedies. But I guess we'll have to see, right? We'll have to wait and see for at least 6 years